Of the preview or the build-up to tonight's State of the Nation address that will be delivered by the President at 7 p.m. And Leanne, my colleague, has been speaking to the chief whips of the ANC and as well as the DA, and they're so upbeat and express so much optimism for today's event. And we now cross back to Leanne. She is in Parliament and she's speaking to the Parliament's acting Secretary, Penelope Twaya. Leanne, it's over to you.
Superior, thanks very, very much. All right, so I'm being a little bit behind the scenes kind of vibe now. I've actually come up to the entrance to the National Assembly. That's where I've just walked out of. And this afternoon and this evening, you're going to be seeing the President taking these exact steps. So I'm going to try and walk over this red carpet. As you can see, everything is still being set up. It's quite fascinating, actually, to see here how this is planned to precision. There are numbers over here. Obviously, this is where everybody has to stand, and they stand on the numbers. So you've got 1, 3, 2, 4, and then you've got a double red carpet. Obviously, this is where the President will stand a little bit later on as they sing the national anthem, and you have the flyover and everything that takes place. So this is SONA. It can never, ever be something to get tired of. You know, this is the second one for this year because, you know, we had an election and now we've got the 6th sitting of Parliament that's taking place. So today we're here doing a preview of what you can expect for the rest of the day. We've had some wonderful conversations. We spoke to new faces. It's quite refreshing, actually, to be seeing all of these new faces coming in with a lot of energy, a lot of vigor, but it's the follow-through that I think is going to be complete importance. Now, my next guest is Penelope Twaya. She, of course, is the Secretary for Parliament, and she's going to talk about the day-to-day runnings of Parliament, and more importantly, what is going to happen today, because this kind of almost falls on your shoulders in a way to make sure everything goes smoothly and make sure that everything goes according to plan. Penelope, good to see you. Thanks so much for chatting to us.
Thank you very much, Leanne. I'm currently the acting Secretary to Parliament. That means acting DG.
Okay.
And largely responsible for administration, right, because, you know, Parliament has got 2 houses, and those are headed by the secretaries of the houses who deal with procedural and core business of Parliament.
Yeah.
So what this day means to us is the culmination of the work that we've done as officials, a contingency of 1,300 staff members, out of which we have a project team that streamlines itself into various aspects of ensuring that the 3 states of the 3 arms of the state converging on the precinct are safe, are accredited, know where to go. And besides that, we actually deal with our preparation to support the new members that have come into Parliament.
Yeah, and there are a lot of new members. There really are. It's an exciting, I think, an exciting page in our history. When you look at the new members that are coming in, a lot more energy. We have our President, of course, who's made a lot of promises for bettering South Africa, and let's hope that all comes to fruition. But the organisation that's gone into today, I mean, can you give us a little bit, because this is now the second SONA that's happening this particular year, so it's a lot of work.
No, indeed it is. And remember that we also work with various departments like Public Works, Defence. So we have a stakeholder project team where everybody plays their role. What goes into this is ensuring that first and foremost we have all the invitations sent out. You know, that's like mundane work.
Yeah.
And we have categories of people that Parliament is responsible for inviting. But most important is to make sure that our members bring in their guests. If we had it our way, we could, I think the executive authority always says that we could invite a whole lot of people, but because of space constriction, the gallery on its own can take about 750 people plus, and we have a few rooms that are sort of overflow rooms where we accommodate people, and then we also invite diplomats, then we invite all former presidents of the country, former speakers, and then we invite the AU chair, SADC, PF, and any other persons that we think are important. Most important for us, we invite NGOs and community-based organizations, religious sector, and also traditional leaders. We try to include as many people as we can, because Parliament is Parliament of the people. It has to show the diversity.
Indeed. Let's talk to some of the confirmed guests that are going to be here and some of the dignitaries. We do, as far as we know, our former President Thabo Mbeki will be here, Kgalema Motlanthe will be here. F.W. de Klerk, is he going to be here?
No, he's actually declined because of other commitments. Former Deputy President Phumzile has also actually declined because of commitments.
What about our former President Jacob Zuma? Because as of yesterday, it appears as if he wouldn't be here. Have you got any more confirmation?
Not as yet. I'm standing here, I'm not too sure about it, but like I said, we issue invitations to all of our former presidents and their spouses.
Fantastic. Guests of honor, because it's always a wonderful thing to see and have here, and they're acknowledged in the State of the Nation address. Who are our guests of honor that are going to be here today?
I do not know from the side of the president, but I can tell you from the side of the speaker. She has particularly invited two women who are ex-prisoners who were convicted, some with her, in Kronstadt prison, and one of those comes from PE, and the other one comes from Soweto. And of course, she's also invited one political detainee. And she thought these were special women who are of a generation that has really worked hard in struggle to ensure that we have a constitutional democracy. And I'm sure those names will come up in either the president's speech, which is obviously content that would have been contributed into the speech by our speaker, Honorable Modise.
Yeah, fantastic. So just in terms of the rest of the year and the running and what happens inside the House, because I think the concern and a major concern is that this evening is going to go off smoothly without any hiccups. But having said that, there is still contingency plans in place that if anything does happen, the personnel are here to deal with that. Has that already been organized?
I think that's what the Speaker and the Chair said. They said, look, Parliament has rules, and them as head of Parliament, and this being a joint sitting, they have joint rules. They have actually articulated very clearly that they will apply the rules as they come. And they're all hoping for a smooth State of Nation address this afternoon. And they cannot hope for anything worse than that or better than that. As for us as administration, when we are called to intervene at any point we want to intervene, we follow the law, we follow the rules, and we ensure that we maintain the dignity of the members of Parliament. We also ensure that we maintain the dignity of our guests. That's very important for us. And remember that there are 3 arms of state, so this whole precinct has to be safe, because we've got all the political leadership of the country converging in one space. So we work very hard with our partners to make sure that outside the precinct there's relative safety without heightening and exaggerating security.
So just, I suppose, as we begin to wrap this particular part of our interview, if we look to some of the cost-cutting measures that have been put in place, because that has been a big theme for this one, is that you're finding that usually there's a lot more, it's a lot bigger, a lot more invited guests, a lot more people paid for. So that's sort of shrinking and cutting down. Is there anything significant that we're going to notice this evening that won't necessarily be taking place?
I think we've done this for the past 3 years. As far as I remember, when I arrived here, the budget for the State of Nation address was at about 4.1 million. Over the years, what we've done is we've revisited some parts of the event that we don't necessarily need. More so when the President started alighting at Africa House, which made the distance to the National Assembly shorter. We then decided that the junior guards are no more necessary, the civil guards are no more necessary, and of course the eminent persons, but that doesn't mean at some stage that might have to be reactivated. However, having done that, we also cut the post-SONA dinner, and that reduced the budget at least the budget itself to 2.1 million, but the expenditure had gone down to 1.7 million. That was this last year, and this year in February we're sitting at 1.6 million. Currently we've budgeted about 2.1 million, and I'm very confident as an acting accounting officer that we will not spend all of that. And what we've done is we've reduced publicizing. Because we've argued that, remember, when you come to SONA, you get invited. So we're not mobilizing communities to descend here. So therefore, we don't need these adverts that on the street poles, we've cut that out. So we don't decorate the street poles, we don't decorate the airports, because this event just advertises itself. What we do minimally is we invest into interviews and in parts like public education, where we actually want to expand the community's knowledge of the work of Parliament. So we've cut and without compromising too many things. But the ceremonial part, because it's the Commander-in-Chief that we're hosting. Ceremonial part that is controlled and managed by the Defence Force, because it's a state event, that stays.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thank you for talking to us. Good luck for today. And I mean, this is it's a big change, and it is. And I mean, if I'm not mistaken, this is about a 46% saving on what the usual cost would be for the State of the Nation address. And it's setting a great example for South Africans. But thank you again for talking to us here on the program, Acting Secretary for Parliament.
It's Tyawa.
Tyawa. Excellent. Okay, give me another lesson. Go for it.
Tyawa.
Tyawa. I love you. Penelope, thank you very, very much. Have a fantastic day, and we'll catch up with you again a bit later. All right, let's take a break here on the program, and we'll talk to you after this. Stay tuned.